What's up you guys, it's Message here and welcome to 10 hours of Herbiboar tracking. In this video I will show you the XP rates, the herbs, the money, basically everything you can expect to get while doing Herbiboar tracking. Now mind you, the most efficient methods of doing this have not really been discovered yet. I will link a video that is discussing it in the description, where they basically go over what might be the most efficient method. So the rates that you are seeing in this video are basically from the first 10 hours of Herbiboars being out, since it's only about 25 hours I guess after the release of Fossil Island. So let's without further ado head into the video where I will be discussing what's gonna be going on. So in order to do this method, all you will need is the quest Bon Voyage, and that has like a little requirement of 100 kudos. And the dig site, I will link a quest guide to Bon Voyage, even though if you have the prerequisites it's really easy. I'll link that in the description though. And you also need 80 hunter and 31 herb lore. But it's always better to have higher stats than that, because the experience that you are getting and the herbs that you are getting do scale based off your level. So the rates, and I will discuss this in the video later on, the rates that I will be getting are most likely going to be different from the rates you will be getting, since I have different levels in general. I'm not maxed yet, but you'll hear that later on in this video. So let me first explain very briefly how you do the method. You start at a specific starting location, which I will show you in more detail in a second. And then you just inspect the mushroom or the muddy patch, and be careful of those zygamites, because if you misclick and think it is a mushroom, it might actually be a zygamite, and then that kind of fucks off the XP rates. But all you do is follow the tracks leading towards a mushroom or a patch until you are at the ending. Now I was doing this pretty randomly, so what you could also do is wait a little bit until the most efficient method is figured out. And there are some people theory crafting about what the most efficient method is. Video will be in the description of that. And at the ending you attack the tunnel and you harvest the Herbiboar with a magic seccator equipped, because that probably gives you a higher chance of receiving good herbs. And then you start all over again and follow the same ritual. But here's the little mini map. As you can see, there are 5 starting locations. I'll show you them in more detail right now. And they are shown on the minimap as a hunter symbol. That is where you start the path, and then usually you end close to a starting location again. So that is basically all there is to doing this method. But without further ado, let's head into what you probably have all been waiting for. What can you expect to get in terms of XP, in terms of money, in terms of basically everything that I did not mention yet? This is the result of 10 hours of doing Herbiboar tracking. I'll start off with showing you the grand exchange value of all of the items and the Numulites, because you can actually trade these over, which ends up being about 3.3 million. So divide that by 10, of course. This is about 330k an hour, which isn't all that great, in terms of money. But I am mainly doing this because I'm an Ironman, and herbs are pretty hard to get by as an Ironman. So we will go into depth in how much herb lore XP this actually is in a second, while I show my little nerd sheet that I made while doing this beautiful Herbiboar method. And here we go. This is the spreadsheet that I made during the 10 hours of doing this method. Now, if you do not want to hear me, talk about this, and if you do understand it, I will be posting this online as well. And as with everything in this video, the link will be in the description, but I will briefly discuss it right now. So I started with 89 hunter and 81 herb lore. I kept track of all of the levels I gained, because as I already said, the experience an hour does scale based off your levels. I was really close to a herb level, so I actually got a herb level just from the Herbiboars. More about that later. But basically what you can see over here are the hours, so hour 1 till 10, and all of the herbs over here, including herbivores. And now herbivores aren't of course actually a herb in itself, but you do get experience and a chance of a pet while cleaning the herbivore of herbs basically. So what you can see over here is per hour the herbs I got, and I also summed that up right over here, and the per hour herbs that I got. Now this is interesting of course, and you can see how much money this is, which I already put in the video before, which was about 3.3 million. But if you're an Ironman like me, you probably don't really care about the grand exchange value, but about the XP an hour, and then this tab comes into play. I kept track, as I said, of all of the experience gains as well. First, I will discuss this very briefly. I just have basically taken note of all of the most helpful things to do on an Ironman. So for example, Irrits, I assumed that you will make super attacks with those. For Aventos, I assumed that you will make super energies and then also make them into staminas. For Quorum, super strength and so forth. So those are why the XP an hour is based off that. I did not, however, and this definitely increases the XP an hour, include cleaning herbs. Because you can, of course, make your herbs cleaned by that guy in Sofanem, I believe. I'm not entirely sure. That doesn't give you any XP though. I do always clean all of my herbs for that extra experience, and that will increase the herb XP an hour by quite a significant margin, I think. But anyways, let's go into this tab over here. These are all of the experience gains I have made per hour, and I have averaged that. You know, this is the total sum of XP I've gained if I were to make all of the potions, and then divided it by 10, and then you can see I'm making about 18,000 herb XP an hour and 120,000 herb XP an hour at my levels. So mind you that if you are higher levels or lower levels, you will get more or less dependent on those. I've also kept track of my Numulites and my fossils. So the fossils or the Numulites you will get is about 450 an hour. Let's just say that for you know, just helpfulness sake, I guess. But as you can see, there is a high variability. You just gotta get lucky, I guess. Same goes for the fossils, but you can expect to get about 450 an hour. Now, I'm not entirely sure what you can do with those. I think you can trade them in for fossils as well. Because, of course, as an Ironman, you can't really sell them to the Grand Exchange, which is possible if you're a regular account. So this does add up a bit in the Grand Exchange value. But then we also have the fossil, so you're expected to get about 2.1 fossil per hour, 0.3 medium. Yeah, you know, this is basically just, you can get these, but they are pretty rare. But you can expect to get about 2 fossils per, or small fossils per trip. And I forgot to mention this, these can be placed into the Varrock Museum, and you will get XP lamps for those. And if you're an Ironman, you will most likely use these XP lamps on Herbiboar, and this will increase the XP an hour in Herbiboar by even more than what is shown over here. So this is purely from making potions and doing the method. Keep that into mind. This is not from cleaning herbs, this is not from the XP lamps that you will get from the fossils. And I also didn't include, of course, buying fossils with the Numulite. So this is probably very underestimated, and it's actually higher in reality if you do clean everything. Which, this is still a very good rate, I must admit, because Herbiboar is just an annoyingly difficult skill. And yeah, I just also, for the funs of it, I guess, get track of how many times I DC'd. So yeah, you know, I DC'd 1.2 times on average per hour. Great, right? But that is all there is to this tab. As I said, a link will be in the description of that. But I hope this helped explain it a bit, and hope the XP rates are clear now. And finally, I just want to give a couple of my thoughts about the method. I think it's actually really fun. I've heard a lot of people complain about Fossil Island, and they're all saying that Fossil Island is basically dead content. I do not agree. I think this is actually one of the most fun training methods there is, I guess. And it is just extremely efficient. At least that is what I think. I'm not a 100% efficient player. I am not a maxed dude already. I don't have any 200 mils. but it seems like this is the new way to go for Ironman Hunter and Herbiboar training. This is probably the way to just get 200 mil Hunter instead of catching chins, which I've heard are basically useless on an Ironman, since range is actually just 0 tick, 0 EHP or 0 whatever, you know, you can get that doing Slayer. But I really enjoy this method. I hope that it stays. I will definitely do this until 99, as I will just get my 99 ranged by doing something else. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped some people out there. I hope that you could basically get some information out of this. I might do a follow-up video when the most efficient method of this training is out there. I might do a quick guide on that, since you know, this is a really long video and I just want to make the quick guide about 3 minutes. But yeah, there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe and all that good stuff if you enjoyed it, and I will see you on that next video. Goodbye.